Welcome to the process. It is Friday, June 11th. 2-game slate coming up today. I am Josh Engleman, and I'm here to break it all down to start off the day. It's going to be a good one. We get Game 3, Hawks and Sixers. We get Game 3, Suns and Nuggets. That one's not looking as good, at least not for the Denver Nuggets, but we shall see. Coming off of a 2-gamer last night where I don't even know what to make of Nets Bucks. The lack of points is just something that I didn't see coming in any way. Shouts to Chris Middleton. That was a good time. Wild ending. Just a weird game altogether. Played out just not at all like I was expecting. And then we closed out with Clippers Jazz, which I know very little about because that all happened after I was asleep. Other than the fact that I know that the Jazz won and that Rondo didn't see the floor. So playoff Rondo. We might have put a little bit of dirt on playoff Rondo. I got the coffee cups in chat right now. Looking good. Nice to see everybody. Good morning to everybody that's watching. Please, if you can, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. That's what you can do for me. That's what I'm asking. I think it's light work for you guys. Just hit that thumbs up. Helps me out a ton. I was happy to see my boy Middleton go crazy. It was nice. It really was. It's nice to see the Bucks stay in that series. I'm going to be honest with you. They shouldn't have won that game. They didn't look good at all. I don't think that they've got a shot in that series, but I'd be happy to be wrong. But I didn't think that they were going to win that game. I didn't think they were going to win that game at halftime. I actually bet on the Nets, which did not work out, but that's fine. Hey, anytime that you've got a bet out on the Nets, you definitely want that final shot going to Bruce Brown. Like, there's no way that would have Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Nah, we don't need those guys trying to tie this game up. Give me Bruce Brown to the rack. And for the record, and I mean this sincerely, I don't blame Bruce Brown for taking that ball to the rack. He had a wide open lane. Go get that layup. I thought Brook Lopez put a little bit too much body on him, but they're never going to make that call. But I don't mind the take. Mike Talbot, odds Harden's back next game. I'd be surprised, if I'm being honest. I don't know if they have an extra rest day or not, but it just doesn't strike me as a spot that he comes back for. Not yet. I hope he does. I hope he's okay, but I don't want him to come back unless he's going to be back. Like, to me, must be in a bad way. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be good, though. It's going to be good. 2 games today will be nice. I don't have much going on today. So I have this process show. We'll have the contenders videos. We'll have the strategy show with Laffy. And then I'm done until Monday. Nothing Saturday. No strategy show for me Sunday. I've got some stuff going on. So I had to call out of that bad boy. So I won't be back again until Monday morning. I might have to put the kibosh on the process show, but we'll see. Maybe we'll be all right. We got a lot to talk about, though, today. This 2-gamer should be fun. Both of these games are really tight. The totals are, they're both like 1-point games, 1.5-point lines. The totals are separated by like a point. So this should look pretty balanced on the face. Salary going to come into play pretty big here. And I don't get the sense there's going to be a ton of value just thinking about the way that these teams have played out previously. I have a sneaky suspicion this is going to be a very difficult slate. I'm just guessing. I haven't looked at anything yet, but we're about to find out. I think it's about that time to get ourselves started. So I have got my coffee. I hope that you have a coffee as well, or anything at all that you would like to cheers with, whether that's tea, whether you're a morning tea drinker, just water, milk. Milk would be weird because we're adults. Juice, maybe a little of the good stuff, something along those lines. But anyway, guys, rise and grind. Boop, right there. Cheers, everybody. Let's kick off this Friday. Let's get ourselves into the weekend. Let's have some fun. Cheers, y'all. Let's switch the screen. Boom, there it is. Coffee, very necessary. Very, very necessary. Eye doctor appointment went well yesterday, trying out the new contacts, and I'm not going to lie, the ones that I have in today, a lot better than whatever they put me in yesterday. So I think we're going to go ahead and go with that order. I'm going to save these eyeballs. And honestly, you got to save the eyes. These baby blues, man, it's going to be bad if something happens, Jose, welcome. Good morning. I did not have a good DFS night. I did not have a good betting night. I did not have a good anything. High quality H2O, William. There you go. All right, let's take a look at this Atlanta team. Do we have anything ultra interesting that we need to pay attention to? Does not appear that we do. So let's just hash this out. Normal fashion. Trae Young at 38 minutes. I'm fine with that. We know DeAndre Hunter is out for the rest of the playoffs, which is honestly a bummer. Ooh, Freddie, Red Bull. That's big. No regrets on not playing more Jazz, people. I don't mind it. I'll be honest. I don't think that there are a lot of people out there that expected the Bucks Nets game to be 86-83. So I can't be too mad. All right, 33 minutes for Capella, 9 minutes for Okongwu. John Collins is going to need 2 more minutes. Let's get him up to 34. I'm going to take those Solomon Hill minutes away. We're going to give Gallo a couple more minutes, get him up to maybe 25. And then I think we want to give Lou Will a couple more minutes as well. So that leaves me 23 minutes. Who needs those minutes? So Kevin Huerter certainly needs more minutes. I'm going to say that he plays 32. So that's 12 and 26. So that leaves me 17 minutes. I don't feel like 17 minutes for Solomon Hill is the right move, but at the same time, it feels like it probably has to be. I don't think it'll matter all that much. Antonio. Yes, I did take my contacts out. Last night, I took my contacts out to sleep for like specifically just to sleep, knowing that I was putting in a different pair, because obviously like they've fallen out and stuff. That is the first time that I've taken my contacts out to sleep in over a decade, easily. There's a 0% chance that it's got to be at least 12 years. There's a 0% chance that it's ever happened while I've lived in North Carolina. So yeah, it was nice. My eyes felt really good when I woke up. So I don't know. But apparently that's a really good thing. Jose, I said that the Nets are the NWO. In particular, the original start. It should be some sort of combination of Harden, Kyrie, and Durant as Hall, Nash, and Hogan. Oh, Antonio, we're on the same page. Yeah. He told me last night that, or yesterday, that it didn't look all that bad. Like it hadn't progressed aggressively since the last time, which was nice. They take some sort of really crazy inner eye pictures. No issues. So that made me feel good. I felt very happy knowing that I was making the right decision. All right, rates are all going to be the same here in Atlanta. I don't have anything that I need to change here. So let's just look at the Hawks quickly. Clint Capella on FanDuel at 7K. Looking like the best option on FanDuel. And then he's 7,300 on DraftKings, and it's just not even comparable to some of these other guys. Like John Collins and Bogdan Bogdanovic on DK are at much better prices. Bogdanovic, though, $400 more expensive on FanDuel. John Collins, $700 more expensive on FanDuel. Then you get Trae Young looking good on both FanDuel and DK. Atlanta looks really good here, which is kind of scary because I don't think that they're in a really good spot in this series. I really do like Philly here moving forward if Embiid is going to be healthy. But Atlanta right now is grading out really, really well. And I don't really have much like I don't trust it, but I don't have any reason to not trust it. So buyer beware on Atlanta today. But I mean, I guess I'm probably just more pessimistic in my head. This is a 1 point line in Atlanta. I shouldn't be thinking that Atlanta can't win this game. So got to get my biases aside. Yeah, Antonio, you nailed it. Kyrie is 1,000% Hogan. But my example yesterday is that Kyrie is the John Cena of the NBA. Kids love that dude, but he gets booed by all the smart marks. So it's fun. Budho, I'm good. How are you? All right, we're on to Denver now. We're going to be getting a lot of Atlanta popping up in these lineups. They're going to rank really highly, particularly this Capella, Bogdanovich, Collins, Trae Young group of four on FanDuel. Herder at 4,700 on DraftKings brings himself a little bit more into play there. All right, on to Denver. Denver trying to save their season. Hasn't been going well. I don't really see a scenario where it goes well. PJ Dozier is still out. Will Barton is not on the injury report at all. I just don't know what that means for Will Barton's minutes. So I probably need to take away a little bit of Millsap's minutes. Move those minutes over there on JaMychal Green, gets him to 21. Marcus Howard still played, which was really crazy. Did he get like a legitimate rotation? I mean, I guess it didn't matter in that game, but did Marcus Howard play in the first half? No, he didn't. Okay, so Marcus Howard's going to be out of that rotation. I feel better there. Aaron Gordon at 30 minutes feels right. Michael Porter Jr. We'll do that. Then we'll give, I don't know how many minutes Will Barton can play because he looked pretty solid. Played 16 minutes in that first game. They don't really have any reason to not let him rip. So I'm going to get him to 18 minutes. And I've got Monty Morris at 26. And then the question becomes, what happens with Morris? Came off the bench, played these legitimate 2 rotations and played 22 minutes. The question just becomes, who is part of the closing lineup for Denver? Obviously Jokic, obviously Porter, obviously Aaron Gordon. Who are the other 2 members of the closing lineup? Will Barton, Monty Morris makes the most sense to me, but I don't know if that's actually how it shakes out. But I think keeping Monty Morris at 26 minutes makes some sense. I think I'm going to put Campazzo at 32. I'm going to put Austin Rivers at 32. And I think that's just where I need to be right now. To me, that looks like the best allocation of minutes for the Nuggets. So let's look at Denver. All right, so Jokic 10-6 on FanDuel, I think looks great. That's going to be an interesting battle between he and Capella because I think Capella looked really good for the salary. Campazzo at 5K is the second best FanDuel option. That is not what I was expecting. I hate the prices on these Denver guys. This mid 5s ish or low 5s, high 4s type areas. Ugh, not ideal. On DraftKings, I mean, it's sending me back to Austin Rivers, which is not what I want at all. So I need to look at rates to see if I can nerf him in some way. Because he's becoming a problem for me, and I'm not really sure what I can do about it. So, I guess I can cut his if that usage rate was correct. I'll feel a little bit more comfortable cutting that a bit. So it's probably a good time to take a lap. This is through the playoffs. Jokic with a 36.6% usage rate. So I am going to bump that up a bit. The assist rate, though, is just non-existent. Rebounding rate seems fine. I'm going to take Monty Morris's rates out of there because I don't know why I had them in there. Michael Porter Jr., I just have to let go and hope that he wakes up a little bit. But Austin Rivers is the key piece here for me. So Rivers has a 12.8% usage rate. I'm going to have to discount that a little bit. Assist rate is fine. Rebounding rate's going to have to be fine. But I do need to take at least a little bit of usage away from him. That should help tame that a little bit. Campazzo, I can't change anything for. All of his rates look perfectly acceptable. Monty Morris, I don't really want to make any changes there either. Although the assist rate is up, so I am going to give that bump back up to him. There's no changes that I can really make for Will Barton. There's no real changes I can make for any of these guys. So I'm comfortable with this Denver stuff to a degree. I think Atlanta, in the grand scheme of things, is going to look a lot better in the aggregate than Denver, which you wouldn't expect. But yeah, so we've got Jokic and Capella basically tied on FanDuel, which is not fun at all when you're trying to hash out center. But it does give you the freedom of having 2 distinctly different builds where you can save $3,600 in salary. But like you get into this next tier, Bogdanovich, Collins, Campazzo, Trae Young, like that all looks fine. On DK, though, it's pretty easy. Collins and Bogdanovich are separated from the pack in the middle tier. And then you get to Trae Young, who's sort of on his own. Although if you want to say that Rivers is with him, that makes sense. But they're obviously 2 very different plays. DraftKings is looking bleak so far. We're going to have a really ugly optimal that can only imagine contains Austin Rivers. Let's check out Philly now. Anything we need to know about the Philadelphia 76ers for tonight? Q tag on Embiid. I think that we have no other choice but to assume that Joel Embiid is playing 36 minutes. So that works for me. Dwight largely playing the backup minutes. That should be fine. Seth Curry's minutes look fine. They didn't really go to Maxey, though. Shake was the guy that shook free last time. Pun intended. 37 minutes on Simmons, 37 on Harris. Why Shake? What happened in that game? Because I know he was cooking for a bit. When did it happen? Ooh, I got to sneeze. That's 2 mornings in a row with a good power sneeze. Wake myself up. Invigorating the day. I love it. All right, so Shake didn't play until late in the third, but he did. That is a legitimate rotation. Like, I mean, this was a neutral game, and he was plus 15 in that time. He's gonna get run here. He just absolutely is. He took the run that they were going to give Tyrese Maxey. And because of how successful it was, I can't imagine that they don't go back to that. So I'm going to say that they squash Maxey and go to Shake today. Maxey's a rookie. It doesn't matter. Thibault is going to need a couple more minutes at the expense of what I can only imagine is Korkmaz. Let's get him to 20. Surprised George Hill isn't getting more time. Let's do something like that. That looks pretty good to me for Philly. Let's take a second look at their usage rates and stuff for the playoffs, because we want to make sure we've got this correct. Joel Embiid in the playoffs so far, 168 minutes, 36.6% usage rate. That is big time. Center's loaded. Jokic, Embiid, and then Capella at a reasonable salary. I'm going to have to bump these guys. Tobias Harris is at 27% usage in the playoffs. Embiid is at 36% usage. That sounds insane to me. So I'm going to lock Embiid at 35 since that's his normal rate. I'm going to lock in Tobias Harris at this higher rate. What has Harris's usage rate been with Embiid on the floor? How much is he? Like, if it's still 24 and change, yeah, that feels really good at 24 and a half then. Actually, it's probably more like 25 is going to work here. Okay, that brings Simmons down to 18-1. He's been at 18-4. That makes some sense. So I don't think that I need to tweak anybody else. I think every other rate here is going to look pretty good. Seth Curry probably a little underrepresented, but that might hurt Simmons a little bit too much. Simmons definitely facilitating a little bit more, so I'm going to give him a bump there. Embiid's rebounding rate seems fine. Tobias Harris rebounding a lot more in the playoffs, which I wouldn't have expected to see. So I'll give him a little bit of a bump there. Let's see what Philly looks like. This might be... Yeah, I was expecting a little bit more there. By the way, 72 viewers, 29 likes. Looks like I need to say something. Guys, if you can hit that like button, if you have come in since we've gotten started, please hit the thumbs up. That helps me out a ton. And I get nervous and sad when the like number isn't really high, like the viewership number. So thank you. 11K for Joel Embiid on FanDuel, 10-3 on DraftKings. I think he is going to be very clearly my third best priority behind Jokic and behind Capella at center. And that's not to say that I don't like Embiid, but I think that he is going to be the nominal third guy here. Ben Simmons at 8,600 on FanDuel, 7,700 on DraftKings to me looks really good. Harris would be third. Not really seeing a ton of value on Philly elsewhere. This slate is hard. The slate is really hard. So yeah, we've got Jokic and Capella here at center, and then we get Embiid. Embiid is like 1.5 to 2 points behind that Jokic Capella group. On DK, though, Embiid is at the top of the heap. I've got Embiid ahead of Jokic because he's $400 cheaper. I got him ahead of Capella. I don't like the price on Capella as much. So very different center stuff going on between DK and FanDuel. And nobody really just jumping to the top on FanDuel from Philly. Man, you guys are going to have a hard time building lineups today. For Phoenix, we'll close this one out. Do we have anything interesting for Phoenix? No, just no Abdel Nader, which does not matter. So let's hash out the minutes first and foremost. and then we'll start running some optimals. All right, we've got Ayton at 36 minutes, Dario Saric at 10. Looks like I need to give Dario Saric potentially more minutes. Or did he get blowout run? No, he didn't. So Saric played 16 minutes, and to me, that's normal rotation. So let's take those two from Jay Crowder, give them the Saric. Torrey Craig, we'll go 15. We'll get Jay Crowder. No, that's fine, actually. 16. 34 for Bridges seems fine. Yeah, let's think about what they were going to play if they did close. So Jay Crowder played 25 minutes. He would have been right around 30. Chris Paul would have been right around 36. Booker would have been right around 40. Because this is a 6-minute stint. Ayton would have been at 32. So maybe I have Ayton slightly too high. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go 35 and 13 there. 40 for Booker, 36 for Paul, 20 for Campaign. All that stuff looks good. Let's just check out the usage rates for Phoenix, and then we'll put a pin in this. So I'm going to cut everything out of there. I just want to make sure I'm starting from scratch. Devin Booker, that usage rate is actually too high, so we'll see who else is pulling the usage. Campaign in 174 minutes has a 24% usage rate. I don't know what to do with that sort of information. That's kind of crazy. Everybody else is below 20, including Chris Paul. But Chris Paul also has an assist rate that's just truly broken, which is kind of crazy. I'm really surprised to see Devin Booker's usage rate not be higher. It's not what I was expecting. But I guess I'm going to just slightly bump Campaign. That'll bring Booker down a little bit. But I can't be projecting Booker for that kind of usage. That's insane. I don't really have any other changes that I want to make here. This just has to be it. I think that just has to be it. Because all these other rates look fine. I mean, I guess DeAndre Ayton's not picking up a lot of assists so far, but that's neither here nor there. All right, let's look and see what Phoenix looks like. Devin Booker, 8,200 on FanDuel is the preferred option. I got him at 1.03 FanDuel points per minute. That's exactly where he's at in the playoffs, so I can't really advocate for making a change there. I've got Chris Paul right on his playoff rate. I've got DeAndre Ayton slightly higher than I should, I guess, from a per minute perspective, but it's probably a playing time thing more than anything else. Paul for 7,100 on DraftKings, though. That is the preferred option, and he is going to be right in that top tier, just a hair behind Bogdanovich and Collins. So Chris Paul and Mikal Bridges not too far behind, but Chris Paul is in that upper echelon on DK. The Collins, Bogdanovich, Chris Paul trio is probably my favorite group on DK. On FanDuel, Devin Booker at 8,200, he is going to rank very highly because shooting guard is just Booker and Bogdanovich. I guess Kevin Huerter is a little bit more viable now. But let's run some crunches and see what this actually looks like, because I'm having a really difficult time figuring out how the balance is going to look here. So we'll run FanDuel first. And on FanDuel, optimal lineup is Trae Young, Campazzo, Devin Booker, Bogdanovich, Michael Porter Jr., which, let me look at that quick. I got to make sure that I don't have him wildly over. But like I'm getting a lot, but I don't trust his health at all. 0.98, yeah, like there's not much that I can do to change that. So Trae Young, Facundo Campazzo, Booker, Bogdanovich, Michael Porter Jr., Matisse Thybulle. So that's a weird small forward makeup. Power forward is John Collins and Aaron Gordon, and then Clint Capella at center. That one makes sense. Fully balanced lineup. Nobody over 10K. Although, how many people are actually over 10K? Is that Embiid? And only Embiid and Jokic. So not surprising once you get Capella. All right, power rankings. Man, I don't know what this is going to look like. Yeah, it's looking like Devin Booker is going to be the #1 contender for today. And I think that that's just a function of the position. Yeah, all right. We got some stabilities. Ooh, Collins caught him. John Collins, Devin Booker, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Michael Porter Jr., Trae Young, Mikal Bridges, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, Chris Paul, Aaron Gordon, Danny Green, Campazzo, Jokic, Herter. Okay. Okay. Nothing too crazy there. Thybulle, just because he's $100 above the minimum and on FanDuel, he's like specifically made for this scoring system. 3 points per steal. If he gets 2 or 3 of those, like you're almost there. That's hard though. They're like the gap between the top and the bottom in that list is narrow, which means that lots of guys look good at each position. Look at that. Trae Young, 42%. Chris Paul, 40. Campazzo, 38. Simmons, 34. And then you're flipping a coin on whether Cam Payne or Monty Morris are like the better bench option. I don't know how to sift through those 4 guys. Shooting guard. Booker is obviously at the top for me, but then you got to roll the dice on whatever this Bogdanovich, Herter, Austin Rivers, Seth Curry group looks like. Small forward has Porter, Bridges, Thybulle. Like, there's no... How do you not go to Porter at small forward when the rest of the options are Mikal Bridges, Thybulle, Danny Green, Gallo, Cam Johnson, Solomon Hill? Like, there's not a lot there. His raw point ceiling is just too high, even though he's been dreadful these past 2 games. 3 of 13, 2 of 9. Like, none of that's good. John Collins, Harris, Gordon. Power forward is pretty tough. And then center, like, no one's feeling confident between Jokic, Capella, and Embiid. And then you get DeAndre Ayton just sneaking in there at 7,400 like he couldn't put up stats. Good luck on FanDuel tonight, everybody. That is hard. That is really hard. Let's see what we got on DK. All right, DraftKings Optimal. Bogdan Bogdanovic, Austin Rivers, Mikal Bridges, John Collins, Nikola Jokic, Ben Simmons, JaMychal Green, Chris Paul. That's aggressive to me in that I would have never came to the conclusion that this was going to be what the lineup looked like. That's kind of nuts. Weird balance, but I like the structure of the lineup. I don't love the JaMychal Green Jokic piece, but it's fine. I don't mind going to Bogdanovic, Collins. Simmons is the lone option from Philly, is fine to me. I like the lineup, but it just feels like a really weird construction. Let's check and see what the power rankings look like on DK. Oh, God, I'm feeling sore. So Chris Paul looking like he's going to be at the top here on DK. Followed by just a swath of Atlanta. Chris Paul, John Collins, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Kevin Herter, Mikal Bridges, Trae Young, Devin Booker, Austin Rivers, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, JaMychal Green, Ben Simmons, DeAndre Ayton, Nikola Jokic. Again, power rankings really flat here once you get out of this top section, but a lot of Suns, a lot of Hawks. That appears to be the direction that I'm going tonight. Not so sure I love that, but I think it's going to have to work. Close it out with some optimals from Yahoo. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them in chat. We could check it out. Yahoo Optimal. Trae Young, Devin Booker, Campazzo, Herter, Collins, Gordon, Capella, and Paul. I think that lineup looks pretty solid. I just don't trust Campazzo, but otherwise that seems fine. And the next closest optimal is almost 2 points away. Power rankings on Yahoo. Looks like Chris Paul and John Collins are going to be on their own tier at the top. Then you get a Kevin Huerter, Aaron Gordon, Clint Capella tier. And then you drop down into Booker, Trae Young, Embiid, Campazzo, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Austin Rivers, Nikola Jokic, DeAndre Ayton, and Michael Porter Jr. Okay. That's Yahoo for you. Anybody have anything else they want to see? Cantor, you wanted to see what would happen on FanDuel if we lock Jokic. I don't get the sense that the lineup is going to change all that much from a total score perspective. So, optimal lineup that has Capella at center, 287. Optimal lineup that has Nikola Jokic at center, 285.7. So you're giving up 1.3 points going from Jokic to Capella. Let's just move this to crunch 1. Move this to crunch 2. There we go. No, move it to crunch 3. There we go. So there's the comparison between the two. In order to go to Jokic and give up that 1.3 points, you switch Michael Porter to Danny Green and Trae Young to Chris Paul. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. And I guess we could look at it the one other way. What does it look like if you add Embiid? Embiid, you really give it up. So Embiid takes you down to 282. And I think that's too far of a drop there. I'd like to know what the Jokic one looks like if you don't lock Campazzo, but I don't really have a reason to do that. So that's what the optimal lineup looks like on FanDuel across the 3 major centers: Capella, Jokic, Embiid. And just to be nice, let's add a DeAndre Ayton as well. The Ayton line comes in last, literally tied with the Embiid lineup, actually. So, which is kind of interesting given how different they are, but they both land on 282. What's the upgrade that you get? So you go from Danny Green to Michael Porter Jr. What am I missing? Trae Young, Campazzo, Booker, Bogdanovic. Oh, Danny Green then comes in over Thibault. That Sixers logo was throwing me off. So it's actually, you turn Thibault into Michael Porter Jr. Okay. Yeah, I like the Jokic lineup the best there. I like the Jokic lineup there. Raymond, it's not the same on DraftKings because you can have these guys in multiple lineups. So because of the multi-position eligibility, the exercise of going through those 3 guys isn't going to be all that fun. I'll do it. Why the hell not? But the way that you can build lineups on FanDuel or on DraftKings just makes this so it's not going to be as interesting of a discussion point. But we'll show it quickly. All right, so optimal lineup just in general ends up having Jokic in it. So now if I lock Embiid, we see just a 0.4 of a point drop. This one puts Embiid in, this one puts Jokic in. Very little difference between the 2 lineups. And then if we want to maintain the same thing that we were doing before, if I lock Clint Capella, was he in one of those? No. If I lock Capella, Capella comes in Now that's a pretty big step down, but it's because Capella's price isn't as good on DraftKings. So he drops down to 260.9. So it's still not a huge drop off. I mean, we're talking about what? 1.1 points off of the Embiid lineup, 1.5 off of the Jokic lineup, and then just, again, to be nice to DeAndre. Wait, is he already in that main lineup? No, he's not. Interesting. Okay. Gets to 262. Does this lineup already exist? It does. So Ayton is already in the Embiid lineup, so that means that I don't have to add him again. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. But yeah, that's DK for you. Hard slate. Not a lot of this is making too much sense to me. I'm not gonna lie. 89 viewers, 52 likes. It looks like we are done here. That's it. We made it through another week. There aren't going to be many of these left. There really aren't. This is probably like 3 or 4 process shows at best left before we're done. Not going to do these on any single game slates. Maybe we'll come back and look at like game 1 of, we'll do like a single game, the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals, the first game of the Western Conference Finals, maybe the first game of the finals, just to take a lap through it. But the idea of doing like game 5 of the Western Conference Finals is not something that I want. I want to go back to sleeping in. It's been a hot minute. I think that's it. Let's pack it in. So contenders videos are going to be coming out shortly. NBA strategy show with Laffy, 10 a.m. You don't want to miss that one. And then I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break. I got some friends en route to North Carolina right now from Pennsylvania. We are going to get into some shenanigans. Abel Polanco, I will hit this question right now. Who would I go with between Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons, or both in the same lineup? One, I don't know which site you mean, but I don't have any problem having them in the same lineup. So there's that. But I think that I have Simmons ahead of Harris on both sites. Let me look. I do, and I do. Yeah, so I prefer Simmons to Harris. Yeah, then I prefer Simmons to Harris. Cheaper and not all that different in projection. That's it, everybody. Please have a good weekend. It's been fun. Hit the like button on the way out the door. Excellent rise and grind session. We have made it through another week. Good luck tonight. Have some fun. I'm out of here.